Hey, welcome to the counselor's office. You're a gamer? You're fucking stupid. Whoa, Mr. Game Counselor, why would you say that? Modern gamers are stupid? I don't know. You tell me, are we stupid? If you're wanting to know what's going on, by the way, I'm not changing the webcam. You're wanting to know what the hell's going on. We're reacting to a video by IGN about, you guessed it, paint. Not just any kind of paint, you know, the paint that kids are sniffing to get high off of, even though that's kind of funny that that's the irony in that people did that. But no, we're reacting. That's right, we're reacting to It's Time. Yellow, it's IGN, yellow paint in video games needs to stop. Oh my God, I remember like it really started popping out with Resident Evil 4 for me, the remake. Other games do it, and I'll talk about it, but modern gamers apparently are fucking stupid because game developers have to do that crap. We're going to jump in, and it's an 11-minute video, and you know it's about to be a 40-minute video somehow because Mr. Rambleman's going to ramble the fuck off. Sorry, Mike just blitzed through it. Let's just jump into it. Yeah.
It's time to stop. If you've played a video game in the last decade, there's a good chance that you've bore witness to an infectious plague, a dreaded epidemic that spread faster than the T-virus.
Okay. Hold on. That last one, God of War with the handprint. Come on. That was a cutscene. Come on.
A rat tsunami, or even cordyceps. I, of course, can only be referring to one thing. The relentless, merciless, and unforgiving yellow paint. They were all yellow. And I'm not the only one who's noticed either. The internet has lit up in response to bucket loads of canary being splashed all over.
It was crazy. Whenever this game came out, it was all over Twitter. Now, I didn't think much about it because I'm like, okay, I'm just going to continue playing. And it's funny for me because I played the original Resident Evil 4. So I'm like, I knew where all the hidden stuff and some of the collectibles. I'm like, I don't need yellow. I'm going to figure this out. But it is crazy to look back and say, damn, there's a lot of yellow in this game.
Over our favorite game worlds. And no mantle point, ladder, or breakable object is safe. But how has this trend happened? And more importantly, what can we do to stop it? I got a lead UI designer and creator of the game UI database to help make sense of this yellow madness and hope.
I'm sorry, that's fucking funny. Look here. Listen, it's almost funny because it's almost like if you people who need to know where to go are also the same people who, like, if you watch some videos where they have like a video going on and there's like another mini game going on, like I've seen TikToks where it's literally the main thing and then there's like a mobile game going off in the corner and then like some other random bullshit. I'm like, what Zoomer hell am I watching? Like, it is crazy. I've almost been tempted to do like an actual video where it's like two different games and then me and then something else going on. Just clutter the freaking screen for ADHD, Zoomer, and kids on Adderall. Like, holy crap. But that's funny. That's funny.
Hopefully provide an alternative solution to the glossy paint assault.
Why would everything be painted yellow? Who's doing this?
Let's go solve this mystery.
The yellow paint complaint isn't a new argument, but the last couple of years have seen it rise to prominence.
I just want to, I don't know, maybe they're going to discuss this, but let's be honest here. This is not new. I mean, the yellow paint, like it's more egregious. It's definitely like the yellow paint is so egregious. But this isn't, games have done guides. Like Dark Souls has torches. Dead Space, literally Dead Space, you can hit a button and it literally draws a line for you. Like, do that, and then it just shows you where to go, which is fine because you can, it's self-imposed, right? Like you were like, okay, I'm lost. Boop, boop. Okay, I need to go this way. It doesn't forcefully do that all the time. You have to choose to do it, which is great. I remember playing like like Fable and these other games where it didn't really immediately like, oh, it's on your map, just check your map and then figure out how to get there. Like, that's fine. A lot of these games forced you to explore. And I think, to me, that's the biggest problem with the whole yellow lines bullshit. It's like, there's no exploration. Like Resident Evil 4 is a perfect example of this, because literally the same game has secrets and hidden things that you have to go out of your way to find, which you can't do unless you explore. It's almost contradictory. Like, we need to show people how to do the X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, there's collectibles and hidden things that you have to just find on your own. So it's like, so stupid people are going to be able to find it and play the hidden stuff, whereas normal gamers, we've got to hold their hand and teach them how to play, which makes sense because people are bitching about there not being an easy mode for like Elden Ring, and I'm out here like, you are casual. Like, what are you talking about? Download mods. Like, again, my rule of thumb is a game for everyone is a game for no one, and so not every game needs to be catered to you. It should have its own specific player base. Get over it. Like, that's why, like, WoW's for certain people, Destiny's for certain people, even though it's like dying. Final Fantasy, all these different games have different genres. Like, who's this for? This is for the casual Timmies. These are the Andys who don't play. These are like the grandmas and grandpas, and then the dudes that have like the dads that have kids and don't have time to spend hours exploring. That they just want to enjoy the story. And so I get that. I just want to, before we continue on this whole video, I get that. That's who this is for. Like, yes, there's some stupid people and people who are like, get really lost in the sauce. Like, they're zoomers. They literally can't stay focused on the fucking game unless they're seeing immediate progress. They need the participation and reward. But there are literally people who don't have hours to spend on gaming anymore, and you just want to enjoy the story. You want to play said game. I can relate to you. I don't think you're stupid. I think you just literally don't have the time to enjoy gaming as you used to. Or maybe you've never had it because you work 2 jobs and you just want to sit down and enjoy a game. I get that too. Again, a game for everyone is a game for no one. So at some point, there needs to be a compromise point where maybe you just shouldn't play that game. Just saying. We all want to be like, I should be able to play it. No, you shouldn't. Sorry. Not every game is meant for you. Sorry. It is what it is. That's life. Just like not every sports is for me. I can't kick a ball straight to save my life. I can't throw a ball to save my life. Not every sports meant for me. Rant over. I feel like I need to put that out there. I get it. I get both sides of the story, but at the same time, we can all agree that this, like, out of all the ways to implement guides, this is the most egregious bullshit ever.
Both 2023's Resident Evil 4 and 2024's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stoked the
I hated seeing this in Rebirth, man. This makes me sad.
online debate, with everyone from your average gamers to AAA developers getting involved.
On my way to Vegas for DICE, at Helski's airport, I'll just follow the NPC of a yellow backpack. Clearly, he's guiding me. That's good. That's funny. That's funny.
The trope of using lashings of yellow paint to guide players along their journey had been well and truly highlighted then, and I wrongly assumed that we'd likely seen the end of it. That was until I began playing A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead.
I was interested in this because I was like, ooh, is this going to be a good horror game? Or is it going to be like the Walking Dead games that have been asked in the past?
What started out as a surprisingly decent adaptation of the popular movie series with an interesting take on Alien Isolation's Hunter gameplay system was quickly tainted when I began to notice ungodly amounts of the yellow stuff .
Okay. You're double dipping here. There is a reticle. Like, you have to be blind. There is literally a reticle right there. Why do you need also the yellow paint? If you're going to make the reticle that noticeable. Like it's right there. Like you're barely walking to it and it boom, there it is. Why do you also need paint? Like I feel like if you took the time to put a reticle there, which makes people like, oh, I should go inspect that. Why are you taking more program time to make paint? That makes no sense.
In every interactable area.
You might as well just have a red arrow or something pointing, come up here, stupid.
You could imagine. Mantle surfaces, markings for where planks of wood had to be dropped, and even a placement area for a crate of beer.
Bro, okay. This is what I'm saying where they think modern gamers are fucking stupid. If you can't even pick up an item and be like, oh, I'm going to put the beer down here. Like it's at this, if it literally pops that says take beer to table and you can't figure out A, what the fuck a table is, and B, the basic number, like the reticle that shows you, hey, press this button. Because literally I just watched the reticle pop up saying X, hold X. Like I come from a generation where we had clear sequences where you had to hit buttons at the right time to progress the story or you would die. Like God of War. I'm spamming all these different buttons. I'm trying to do some crazy stuff. Are you telling me that the modern gamers couldn't handle that because they didn't know how to fucking read a prompt? Oh my God.
Yeah, seriously. We're all covered in the stuff. I went from moderately enjoying my time with the game to once again.
You know what? I know I'm pausing a lot, but you know what's the biggest sin of all this? And I think it's really important. It kills the immersion, right? You don't want to play video games to feel some kind of like, oh, to be reminded that I'm not in reality. You play games to escape reality. This breaks immersion. And it feels like if I'm playing a horror game and like there's the potential of me dying in this game, but I'm seeing yellow paint everywhere, like it's freaking like what? We're playing Sesame Street, follow the yellow brick road. I know there's two different things, but you know what I mean. Like it's literally like you might as well have Elmo on the side telling you what to do at the same time. What's A for? Ass. A stands for ass.
And obsessing about a developer's UI decisions.
What is wrong with me?
Side note here, you can actually disable the paint in the options, but by default the game is covered in yellow gunk.
Okay, that's exceptional. Okay, if why is that not like? It's stupid that should be off on default. But I get what it's not because again they assume most people are. Let's be honest, they didn't do that to help the dads, the casuals, the people who have hours. They didn't do that. Let's be honest. Let's be you and me. I understand why you might want it. I understand you, but they don't. They did it because you're fucking stupid, or they think you are.
So it feels fair game. I really hoped that A Quiet Place would be the fluorescent finale for the trope. And then, well, Stalker 2 arrived. And although not as egregious as A Quiet Place, it too is very liberal with the amount of magical guiding yellow muck it lashes all around.
What is it with games and ladders? Now, I get it. There's some games where you can't climb ladders, like Destiny. Destiny has like ladders, but you can't do shit all with them because that's not the kind of game. But I feel like if you put a ladder at the very beginning of a mission at some point that they have to do, they're going to find out really quick, oh, there's ladders, which means I should look for ladders in the future because that's a thing. I don't know who is stupid as fuck to not know that ladders. Like, that's what they're meant for, is to climb. Unless your game specifically doesn't allow you to climb ladders, which this one does, why does every ladder need to be covered in paint?
Its world. Yellow paint then, it appears, is here to stay.
Sick of this. I'm sick of all of this!
But why? I needed answers from someone who knew exactly why developers turn to yellow paint time and time again. And so I got in touch with UI designer Ed Coates to find out more.
It really is this sort of like Darwinistic kind of cycle where if it's successful, it will carry on being used. It's one of those cases where a lot of people are now.
The yellow paint is so unnecessary. Obviously, a ladder is climbable. Obviously, a crate is breakable. Why did they do this? Because there are some stupid gamers. Let's be honest. We're not talking about like directional, like when you're talking about ladders and breakable containers, I don't think there's an excuse. If you can't figure that on your own, you are fucking stupid.
Now noticing it, and because they notice it, it's annoying them.
Ed is a lead UI designer at Radical Forge, developers of Southfield and Brightport. Ed is also the creator of Game UI Database, a free resource for UI and UX designers to search for reference material and inspiration. UI, UX, what does this all mean to the average gamer though? And how does that relate to yellow paint in video games?
What's it all mean? What's the point?
User interface, or UI for short, generally means the interactable graphic design that you see on pause menus, skill trees, button prompts, and other similar things.
Yep.
User experience, or UX, on the other hand, broadly refers to taught gameplay behaviors that help you progress through a game's environment. Yellow paint, annoyingly for clarity's sake, sits somewhere between the two.
The lines are so blurry between everything. It's not as simple and cut and dry as just like UX being behavior and UI being menus buttons. It's basically a solution to a problem. Because that problem can be solved either in a menu or diegetically in the world itself, whatever we do in the world itself can also be considered a form.
Why is part of me, part of me was cynical because I was fully expecting there to be a building that had yellow paint on the side of it. It should tell you this is the building you have to go to.
Form of UI. A friend of mine once said UIX, and I think I'm sort of inclined to agree with that.
Sounds good to me.
It's hard to pinpoint exactly when yellow paint started in video games. All signs largely point to a slow, evolutionary process dating back to the glowing yellow weak spots trend of the mid-2000s. But it's unquestionable that, since its relative recent wave of popularity, yellow
Well, that's the thing, right? There's always been some way, like torches or lights or like actual signpost in some way, or maybe the grass is greener or some kind of effect or shading, or like everything's dark except for this little patch of area. Like, ooh, I should go that way. Like there's always, or maybe blood on the ground and you're investigating the blood, or you hear sound effects in the distance or something. Like there's always been some kind of indicator of where to go. Like, it's crazy to think that we went from games that had nothing and just good luck, figure it out, to yellow. Like, we've de-evolved. We've become less capable of gamers, apparently, where I feel like, yes, people spent hours playing video games in the past, but people had jobs. It's not like suddenly people just like magically, oh, they like video games and now they have jobs. Man, 2000 must have been really great if no one had fucking jobs. Like no one had to work. No one had to do double shifts. No one had kids. No one had any of this going on. But again, people figured it out. People were intelligent enough to figure it out. So yes, I know I'm making a counter argument, and I think it's valid to play devil's advocate to both sides. Like, yeah, you may have kids, you might have not enough time, but we used to do it back in the day, and people used to have the same thing going on. It's not like, ooh, magical. We just didn't have jobs or life going on. Life existed back in the day too, and people learned how to play the game. Granted, we also had strategy guides and like actual books, and people would just go through that. Like, there's always a way to play a game that you don't need paint like this crap to figure it out.
Paint has then become a de facto solution to an important game design problem. How do you encourage or highlight the direction a player needs to go?
We need to have some way of teaching the player thing. But in many, many cases, they do try loads and loads of different things. They go through like numerous testing sessions with players. I've been to these offices where they have like a cinema screen and they watch rigorous tests, to make sure that they play the game properly. They would have basically done numerous tests and then found like, okay, we really do need to just paint these ladders yellow to make sure that players know.
Please don't go this way.
There would have been one or two situations in the game where they had to point it out because people were missing the ladder. And there would have been enough cases like that where basically they were like, okay, we've started this language of like yellow paint equals.
So you make a game and people are playtesting. First off, who the F is who's playtesting your game and can't figure out ladders? Who can't figure out and see goddamn ladders? Secondly, That seems like a you problem. If you're making a game and you can't make it obvious enough of where to go with ladders, that is a you freaking problem. If people can figure out how to play Dark Souls, you can get through Blighttown, Dark Souls 2, Blighttown Jr. People figured that crap out. And they didn't have yellow to tell them where to go. They had torches. That is a you problem. That's poor game design. It doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, so we made this game and no one knew where the fuck to go, so we had to put yellow on the stairs. Or ladders, sorry. I'm waiting for that to happen. Where's the stair update where instead, now entire staircases also have to have yellow on them? Go upstairs this way.
You can climb this or you can smash this or whatever. So because we've done it in enough cases, we now need to do it everywhere, because if people see the yellow paint, they're going to think, oh, we can climb it. And if they don't see the yellow paint, they're going to think, oh, we can't climb it.
It's just like stoplights, green lights. You know, you're trained, or you're taught, should I say, and trained. Green light, go. Yellow light mean get ready to stop, and then red light, stop, even though some people still go. But most people, if you suddenly switched it up and says red is go, people are not going to go. They're like, no, that's not where I go. I go at green, not red. No. And so I get that. People are programmed that you teach them one way. You can't just change it up. People won't realize it. Even though I play games where there are ladders you can climb and then there's areas you can't access. And I feel like you could do that in a way that's tasteful, like a broken ladder or a ladder that's half broken or falling apart. Like obvious, like, oh, obviously I can't climb that because visually that doesn't look like it's safe to climb.
Upsides and downsides to everything. You know, if you give people too much information, it's hand holding. If you take away the information, it becomes difficult. The key thing is to make sure it makes sense in the narrative. The reason why yellow paint's ridiculous is because it's like, why would everything be painted yellow? Who's doing this?
And with this point, Ed arrives at the crux of my issue. A problem that can only become more exacerbating as gaming progresses further into the realm.
Hold on, let's go back. I think it's tasteful. That's very tasteful. Like this, thematically, that doesn't look egregious. Like there's yellow knots on things on the, I guess it used to be a bridge or something, like they're climbing. Like that's tasteful when it makes sense. It doesn't look, it's not just paint. It doesn't break the realism, or not realism, the whatever, you know what I mean? Like you're able to self-insert yourself in the game and you're not reminded like, oh, this isn't like I'm playing a game, right? You're not the effect of playing the game isn't like broken, right? You're not suddenly like, why is it this shouldn't be here? Why is this a thing? This makes sense thematically.
This is further into the realms of realism. How can I truly be immersed when the UIX element is diametrically opposed to that goal?
Help me to understand this shit.
Everyone hates UI because it's like this reminder that you're playing a video game. Diegetic UI can play into the narrative. Faith in Mirror's Edge, for example, she sees things in red and we say that's runner vision. Other patterns like that all throughout UI, so like the red barrel, for example, we never question that. We never question.
Yeah, but so the thing with red barrel is usually had like a danger sign or explosive sign, which makes thematic sense because like toxic barrels, there's always the toxic symbol on toxic waste. It makes sense. So red barrels make freaking sense because you know it's explosive. There's always going to be some indicator on it. But why would there be a fucking yellow X on wooden boxes or whatever? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Why are barrels red that are explosive?
Because it literally.
Why are barrels?
That is literally the danger sign. This is the chemical sign to show that there's some kind of explosive chemical. That is what's in real life currently. Do you see yellow marks on it? Is there anything that is not actually realistic? Because that looks thematic.
Red that are explosive. Weak spots on enemies. We never question, like, what's the evolutionary benefit of a weak spot? You know, they have a big...
Yeah, but you're talking about weak spots? That's because it's part of the creature. In other parts of it, also glowing. Like, he's trying to make an argument for why, like, Why are we making a big problem now? It's always been a thing because it's been tasteful. It's been thematic. You see, there's a giant yellow crit you shoot, but there's also the same kind of pattern on the body of the creature already. It's thematic. It makes sense.
A bit of a weak spot. You know, they have a big glowing spot on their body, which is also the spot that happens to be where they take the most damage. Why would they have that? But they're there to...
Okay, let's not use Veilguard as an example. One, I've heard about this boss and it was fucking ass. So don't use this as an excuse because no one likes this game. And this boss specifically, no one fucking likes. So I would not be using this as your argument piece.
to guide the player, they're there to help the players. It's
Again, thematically, he has this corrosive pus ball. Thematically, this makes sense. It's not yellow paint, bro. It's also not some random thing that isn't part of, like, it thematically it works.
possible to do this in a subtle way, but because you want to teach a pattern, if you add yellow paint to this one section of the game, you kind of want to do it throughout the entire game in order to make that consistent pattern, that kind of language that you're teaching the player, that yellow paint equals go here, you know, kind of thing.
Come with me if you want to live.
For a player to learn a pattern and minimize any moments of confusion,
Oh my god. This is every gamer's worst nightmare. There's no yellow paint. How are they going to know where to go? My god, Tomb Raider, people are not going to know where to go. How could you do this? How could you do this? People are too stupid to know where to go.
consistency and regularity with the visual language is key. Reading between the lines, it appears that Ed's argument is that a player's painless
I like this. This one is a little bit better because thematically, it's all technology, it's glowing, it's not like immediately in your face. Thematically, it makes sense.
experience is often more important than a constant state of immersion. If a healthy balance between the two isn't possible, then a frictionless experience is the priority. But unlike the alternative, and perhaps smarter, subtle scratches on mantle objects, or the
Yeah, I mean, that's still maybe on the nose, but it makes more thematic sense, right? Like, that is a lot more tolerable going on there.
objects, or the explosive red barrels that we've been shooting at for decades,
Again, it makes sense because they're dangerous. They're going to be labeled as such.
what began as a design choice to almost subconsciously guide the player has now become so unbelievably conscious that it was hard for the internet to ignore.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the
My room looks like a linear story design now. Not enough paint, yellow paint. Oh my god.
yellow brick road.
Wait, hold up. Why are there so many 360s in this room? Jesus Christ, forget the paint. I want to know what's going on. There's a story being told here, and I want to know what the fuck it is. Hold on. The Stanley Parable Adventure line. That's kind of funny. Now, this is kind of, it's a parable, so I give this game a pass. Oh my god.
So, what's the solution? Now that yellow paint has become the butt of UIX design jokes, what can developers do that's different?
New solutions are coming up all the time. Like God of War did the kind of tribal patterns etched into
Yeah,
the
it was
rock.
fine.
Uncharted, you know, they've managed that without yellow paint. But the thing is about those solutions, they take a hell of a lot of time to perfect because you're literally talking like a bespoke piece of scenery for every single climbable.
I get it. What he's saying is it's cheaper to just take the route to help the stupid people figure out how to play the game. It's easier to just use yellow paint. It's the minimal effort way. It saves us time and money and creativity to just slap paint everywhere. And let me tell you, that is a developer issue. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Figure it out. Don't give me the handy-down half-ass work because it takes more resources. I don't care. I don't want it. I want your paint bullcrap. Or that, or let me turn it off because it breaks my immersion, asshole.
Wall. One of the best ways of teaching something to the players, rather than telling them to do something, you can breadcrumb them to get them to that place. So you can basically use contrast. So you can use like a landmark in the background, for example, to draw their eye, and that will work as like a sort of beacon. The church in Breath of the Wild at the very start, you know, rather than have like a big arrow be like go here, you didn't need that because you have this landmark that's just sitting there and the player is always going to go to that landmark. People are going to have to adapt because obviously it's annoying people now and that's not going to go away. You can't use yellow paint and then also be surprised when people go on Twitter and be like it's back.
This brings me back to A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, and to a lesser extent,
Well, because here's the thing. People are more annoyed because not because it's necessarily it's too handholdy. I've been making jokes about this entire video, but literally what it's telling people who play this, you are stupid. And it pisses people off because a lot of people aren't really stupid. They don't really need this. There's that small population of people who do, but most gamers are not stupid. And it's very insulting when you play a game and it breaks your immersion and it reminds you the developers think you're fucking stupid.
Stalker 2. After Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and another intense round of mocking, I thought gaming was finally done with yellow paint. But once again, the played out, but admittedly useful trope reared its ugly yellow head.
I think it definitely was a mistake to use the yellow paint because this is the thing about design patterns as well, right? The more that solution is used, the more the player knows what that solution is. But obviously that can have a downside and an upside. You know, it can make things really, really obvious, or it can basically just be.
I know there's like a movement for anti-woke, like we want anti-woke games. That's what's the trend. Can we make a trend that just like where we band together from both left and right side, where we're like, no more yellow. Can we? Yellow is fellow. I don't know, like anything clever, like woke or like anti-yellow. We're anti-yellow. I don't know. We just like can we just come together and be like, stop it. Just stop.
You're like, oh, not this again.
This landscape, I could swear I've seen it before.
Because once you notice it and you know why it's there, it's like it is jarring and you want to be immersed.
It's still real to me, damn it!
If the discourse carries on, it will just disappear. If now we know that yellow paint is basically the devil and people hate it, then the least we can do is, you know, make it blue.
You never know where help is going to come from until you look for it.
It appears then that the days of yellow paint guiding us down critical paths are numbered, hopefully destined to the history of gaming design tropes along with instant fail stealth missions and slowly walking while talking. But it won't be long before the new yellow paint arrives, because as games become increasingly complex and detailed, developers will always need to create new and clever.
Like right there, what is this bullshit? Why do you need yellow? This is a perfect example of it's not breaking like your immersion. It's obviously big as hell. Like, oh, RB, I just need to hit the button. That's more tasteful than yellow, in my opinion, because I get to enjoy this entire scene. And it's not just some yellow eyesore in my freaking face.
New and clever methods to optimize our experience. And when something new works, patterns will be established and others will quickly follow.
You gotta keep moving forward. We will beat this.
So yes, although it'll be annoying when we all collectively notice, perhaps instead we should take joy in all the painless hours of video games we experienced before we did.
Well, my work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?
Now, on to my next gripe. Squeezing through small gaps. Let's get rid of that.
So dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
And if you like that video,
that's a weird, that was a weird one. I don't know, like it's obviously a hidden transition, which I'm more okay with hidden transition, so that's it. All right, well, that's my thought. I think it's I think it is, there's a small population that is actually stupid and needs them. I think it's an overcorrection because they're, again, we survived without having to have yellow everywhere. I don't know where we crossed the line to where now we're treating gamers as if they're stupid. And I think that's why there's this big pushback, because it's insulting to anyone who actually has a brain. Again, I can see the thought process for people who are casual, maybe don't want to spend hours exploring, but I feel like at some point we can all realize that you climb ladders to climb. You hit boxes. Once you realize boxes can be destroyed, and also you can literally mark them in a way that you know that they need to be destroyed and still be tasteful, or just highlight them. You know, some missions start out with like a highlighted box to indicate, hey, look for these in the future, destroy them and get some ammo. Like there's literal tutorials that you can do to introduce players right off the rip to some of the basic elements that prepares them for the rest of your game. And I know that that's a problem for some developers. They don't want to put that much effort to do that. That's a you problem, not a gamer problem. I'm just saying. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. The link to the video will be down below. Let me know what you think. What do you feel about the yellow demon that is paint? Until next time, don't forget to be the best version of yourself and game out.